Hello, and thank you for joining me, Shani Lee. I'm currently here in the Bolivian Amazon for work, so I hope you appreciate the tropical jungle background. And because I'm here in the Amazon, I thought it'd be fun to do a nature-inspired flow, so pretty much all of the poses, which a lot of poses in yoga already have something to do with the environment, but we're going to really focus on those poses that have something to do with nature, with animals, with plants. So full body Vinyasa flow. I really hope you enjoy, and thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the mat. So we're going to get started here today in what's actually called a child's pose, but for all senses and purposes today, we'll call it rock pose. So I invite you to come onto your knees. Maybe you have them together, maybe you have them wider apart, whichever works better in your body. If you want to have like a little cushion under your glutes, that sometimes helps. And we're going to fold our chest as much as we can over our knees and let our hands come by our feet rather than extended out. And we're going to settle here. So again, I like to call it rock pose. And I invite you to start focusing in on your breath and your body. If this is a lot for you and you can't fold your chest onto your knees, you can also come onto your elbows, bow your head, try to find some sort of release. And of course, if nothing works, you can always find a seated pose. But we're going to take a few minutes to connect to Mother Earth, or Father Earth, or Earth if you don't want to have a gender assigned to it, to our home, our planet. Breathing in and out. If your forehead is touching the mat, feel that connection to the earth, to the ground. Feeling as your back expands, breathing in and out, noting the sensation of your back expanding with the air rather than your front chest, as our front is slightly more compressed. Giving gratitude for our planet that sustains us. For one more round of breath here, finding a little bit more release. Exhale, side out. And then I invite you to slowly start moving into your arms a bit, whatever feels good. And we'll eventually find a clasp at our sacrum, at our back. If that doesn't work for you, you can try to grab your forearms, your elbows, whatever works. And just lifting the arms here, stretch them back, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, finding space in your neck. And we're going to come into rabbit pose. So maybe move your forehead a little closer to your knees. And on your next inhale, start to rock forward onto the crown of your head. And then exhale, back. Twice more. Inhale to rock forward, lifting your arms up into the air. Exhale back down. Last time, roll it on up. And then from here, let your hands come to the earth, ground down, and all 10 fingers slowly rise up into a tabletop pose. Adjust as you need here. Maybe take a few breaths of movement as serves your body, whether you're doing this in the morning, afternoon, evening. Just kind of working out to the day so far. And one more round of breath. And finding our cow and cat. Just come into a nice still position here, adjust as you need. And then on your next inhale, belly drops towards the earth. Shine your chest forward, look up. And exhale, tuck everything, arching your back, pushing the earth away. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Once more, inhale. And exhale. Come back to center, and we'll be going into puppy dog. So if you know you need to move to have a little bit more space, do that. And then as you're ready, stretch your hands out as far as you can and start to drop your chest towards the mat. Uttanasana, Shishosana, keeping your hips in the air. Feeling a release in the upper back. Forehead reaches for the earth again. Still connecting to our breath. Exhale, side out. And then start to slowly roll your way up as we come into our first cobra pose. Adjust your hands. Now drop your hips and shine your chest forward. Big breath in here. Big breath out. 2 more rounds of breath. Breathe in. Pushing the earth away, creating space in your neck. 1 more round of breath. Exhale, sigh it out, and we're going to slowly come into our first downward facing dog of the practice. Tuck your toes and gently make your way towards Adho Mukha Svanasana, grounding down all 10 fingers, pressing into the earth. Move through your body, stretch it out still waking everything up, getting into it, right? We don't want to force anything here. Like in nature, right? Everything in balance, everything aligned. Everything working with everything else. 1 more round of breath. And then slowly making our way through our first sun salutation. Find stillness, exhale. Inhale, reach your heels into the sky. Bend your knees, gaze forward, and you can step or hop towards the top of your mat. Feet meet your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, either coming onto your fingertips or coming with your hands right below your shins. Bow forward once more, and nice and gently roll all the way up into Tadasana, maybe adding an Urdhva Hastasana pose. And exhale, hands come through heart center and then down by your side here in Tadasana pose. Grounding down in all now 10 toes, feeling the earth steady below our feet. Take a moment to really connect here, right? Notice your posture. Are you locking out your knees? Do they have a gentle release in them? Are your shoulders crunched? Are you arching or slumping? Try to find a nice, gentle posture here. And really be aware of standing, right? It's something that we do naturally every day, but how often are we actually aware of it? Breathing in and out here, strong and steady like a mountain. 1 more round of breath. Exhale, sigh it out, and we're going to wake up the feet a little bit, doing some toe pulses. Inhale, arms reach up into the sky, lift your heels. Exhale, back down. Twice more. Inhale up, and exhale down. 1 more time. Inhale, reach, and try to hold here. Find your balance, find your center. 1 more round of breath. Exhale, fold it down and release everything towards the earth. Inhale to halfway lift, find a nice long spine. Exhale, plant your hands and step or hop your way back to plank. We're going to hold here for a few seconds to activate the core. Waking everything up. And keep your elbows in as you slowly lower everything down to the mat. Untuck your toes, roll your shoulders back, pull your elbows back, and lift your chest, low cobra. Exhale, bow it down. Inhale, lift just the chest. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lift the chest and hold here. Maybe hover your hands. Breathe in. And breathe out, hands reach back towards the earth and slowly roll it up into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. 1 round of breath here. Exhale, side out. Find stillness if you're moving. The left foot stays on the mat, right leg reaches into the sky. 3-legged dog, nice big stretch. Hold here, try to keep your hips square. And we're going to bring our knee into our chest 3 times. If that doesn't work for you, moving into a plank, you can also drop your knee and do it in like a bird dog pose. Exhale, shift your weight forward into plank, tuck your knee in, and inhale, extend it back out. Exhale, pushing the earth away still. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and now we're going to turn our foot out and bring our knee towards our elbow. Exhale, stretch it back. Inhale. One more, invite the burn, inhale. And exhale, step your foot all the way outside of your right hand to come into lizard pose. Adjust as you need. And stay here. If you need to drop your back knee, you can. Otherwise, keep it off the mat. And I'll give you a few variations. You can have your knee lifted, you can be on your hands, you can be on your elbows, you can drop your back knee, be on your elbows, you can turn onto the outer part of your right foot and open up that way. So lots of options here. One more round of breath. Finding what works for you. Exhale. And now bend your elbows slightly if they're not already and roll back up. Or add some type of movement. Maybe it's just with the head. And settle back in here. And now wherever you are, open up. Maybe having your right hand on your right knee, maybe pushing your leg out, whatever works for you. Maybe you extend your arm into the sky. And exhale, comes back onto the mat. Step it back through your plank and move through your Vinyasa flow. Still doing lower high cobra, whatever works for you. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. And take that to the other side. So now right foot stays, left leg lifts up into the sky. Hold here for a second. Trying to not open up through the chest or the hips. So it's okay if your leg isn't like crazy super high, right? One more round of breath, and then we'll find our pulses. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to chest. Stretch your back. Once more through center. And now bringing it out towards the left knee. Exhale, kiss the left knee with or kiss the left elbow with the left knee, I should say. Exhale. Once more. And now step your left foot all the way outside of your left hand and settle into lizard pose on the other side. So again, finding your variation here for 2 more rounds of breath, just to get into position. 1 more round of breath. And then again, if you're on your hands, maybe bend into your elbows. Otherwise, maybe just kind of bow your head. Just find some nice movement in the spine, in the neck. Settle back in. And now open up towards the left side. So whatever variation you want to do of this twist. Grounding down still on all 5 fingers of the right hand. And exhale, cartwheel your hand back to the mat. Use your core to nice and controlled step your feet back together, plank pose, move through your Vinyasa flow. We'll all meet in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a moment here. Exhale, side out. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, gaze forward, and step or hop your way towards the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Bow it forward. And this time rise all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, into Tadasana, mountain pose, hands down by your side. Grounding down and all 10 toes again. I'm going to work still more on some balance. So find your weight in your left foot if you need to adjust to do that. And then slowly start releasing the weight off of your right foot. So maybe you stay on your toes if you're still really working on balance. Maybe you lift it up a little bit higher, maybe even higher. And then maybe you can add your arms into the sky, whichever works for you. And then if we want, we can touch it down on the exhale, just gently. And then inhale, lift it up again. Exhale, touch. Inhale, lift. Once more, exhale. And inhale and hold here. If you want to add a little intensity, you can try to pulse the left foot. Kind of depends on what you want to do here. For 1 more round of breath. And then exhale, release, and we'll take it to the other side. Now shifting your weight onto the right.
Slowly taking the weight off of your left and finding wherever works for you. Again, space between your shoulders and your ears. If you have your arms lifted up into the sky. And then finding our gentle little taps. Exhale and inhale. Connecting breath and movement. That's what Vinyasa and yoga is. Well, part of it, right? And exhale. Bring it back up. And hold here. Again, if you want to add some pulses to really challenge your balance, you can. For one more round of breath. And exhale, fold everything to that. Pour your chest over your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. And we'll find another Vinyasa flow. So maybe you knew through Chaturanga this time, and now maybe upward facing dog. Maybe you're still working on your cobra. Whatever works in your body. We'll all meet together in downward facing dog. One round of breath here. Exhale, side out. And slowly undulate your body forward into plank pose and lower all the way down. Untuck your toes, and now we're going to spider tip our fingers out to the sides. Lots of spiders here in the Amazon. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stay here, and now dip your right shoulder in. Bring it back center. Left shoulder in, center. Twice more. Really feeling your low back. Last time. And exhale. Bring it back center, and now drop your elbows. Bring them right underneath your shoulders. Adjust on your mat as you need. And ground down in all 10 fingers, nice and stretched, coming into Sphinx pose. So I know Sphinx isn't a real animal, but that's okay. We can stay here, or now the other option is to come into Seal pose, Seal pose, grounding down, push now into your hands and lift everything up. So this is a more intense back bend, so you can stay in Sphinx, or you can do Cobra pose if that works better for your body. One more round of breath. And exhale, fold it back down. Rock your weight onto your left side and bring your right knee up to come into half frog pose. So now we can keep our elbows more in our Sphinx position, or we can open them a little bit more out, whatever works better in your body. Breathing in and out here. One more round of breath. Exhale, use your core to draw your leg back, and now rock your weight onto your left hip and draw the other knee out. Half frog pose here. Also a lot of frogs. I went on a little nighttime walk the other day and saw lots of little frogs, which was pretty cool. One more round of breath here. And then use your core to draw your leg back, fold your chest down, bring your hands underneath you like in Cobra pose, and roll your way back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Big breath in here, big breath out. And now inhale, lift right leg into the sky, and we're going to scorpion leg our dog. Bend your knee, drop your foot towards your glute. Luckily, I haven't seen any scorpions yet. One more round of breath here. Exhale, side out. And now we're going to step all the way through. Big breath in. Big breath, I can't talk today. And exhale, step your foot between your hands and rise all the way up into a high Anjaneyasana crescent lunge pose. That's right, crescent moon. Sending energy through the back heel. Really stretching your leg out here. Maybe you imagine that you're holding the sun between your hands. One more round of breath. And we're going to do some cactus arms. And we're going to pulse our back knee. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Now turn your palms out. Draw your elbows in towards your rib cage as you bend your back knee and extend it back out. maybe straightening all the way into their front leg, whichever works for you. Exhale, and inhale, and exhale, hold here. One more round of breath, and inhale, reach back up, and fold it forward, hands meet the mat, and step it back, and move through your plank. Chaturanga, cobra, or upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. And now we'll do that on the other side. Right foot stays, left leg lifts up into the sky, bend your knee, scorpion like your dog. Hold here for a second again to feel the energy in your shoulders. Really open your knee up into the sky. One more round of breath. Doing some isometric hold here, and exhale, footsteps between your hands, and lift it all the way up. Crescent lunge. Maybe it's just because I haven't really spoken English in a week. Big breath in. Again, maybe you're holding the sun. Maybe this time you want to hold the moon. Sending energy through your back heel. Keeping your hips aligned. It's almost as if you're pulling your left hip back. Exhale, side out. Now palms turn out, and we'll find our pulses. Exhale, and inhale. Exhale, inhale, and exhale, hold here. One more round of breath. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Move through your Vinyasa flow. Meeting in downward facing dog. One round of breath. Exhale, side out. And make your way to the top of your mat. Breathe in, heels lift, bend your knees. Exhale, step or hop. Halfway lift. Side out, fold. And rise all the way up, arms reach up into the sky. And move through heart center, down by your side. I'm going to turn just so you see me a little better this time. Now kind of practicing all those balancing preparations that we've done before, we'll move into tree pose. So start to find balance in your feet. Exhale, sigh anything out. And starting with our right foot. So putting your weight into your left, and maybe you stand right here, keeping your toes on the earth like a little kickstand and practicing balance there. Maybe you start to slowly draw your heel up to right below your knee. And maybe you hang out here. Maybe if you can lift without your help, you can bring your foot into your inner thigh, whichever works for you. Maybe you have your hands up in the air. Maybe you have them in prayer behind you. You choose what works for you. And we'll breathe in and out here. Finding balance. And the trees here are truly something incredible. I take so many pictures of them. And I'm sure Brutus has come in and out of the shot. If you fall, that's okay. Exhale, side out, and we'll all meet down on the mat anyways. I'm sure you've seen him in the shot a few times already. And now we'll reset to the other side. Now moving our other knee out, finding our kickstand, finding our little quad hold, or moving it all the way up to the inner thigh, finding what works for you. Vrikshasana here. For one more round of breath. Sigh it out. And slowly release. I'm going to turn, but stay where you are on your mat as you need. And inhale, arms reach up into the sky, and we'll move through another flow. Exhale, release. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant your hands on the mat. Back to plank. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Lower, maybe halfway down if you're moving through chaturanga. And we'll find our way into downward facing dog. One round of breath here. Exhale, side out. And we'll come back onto our stomach. Undulate your body forward. Nice big stretch here. Elbows in and lower all the way down. And now this time we're going to bring our hands down by our hips. Inhale, lift your chest like you're doing in Cobra. Maybe lift your hands. And exhale down. Inhale, lift your chest. Really reach your arms back. The last time. Inhale, roll up. Maybe you hold here. Maybe you lift your legs. Maybe you find a clasp. Whatever works for you. 3 more rounds of breath here in locust pose. 1 more round of breath. And exhale, slowly release. Let your hands come back to their cobra position. Roll your body gently up to come back into a tabletop pose. Breathe it out. Let your back reset for just a moment. And now tuck your toes if they're not already tucked. And lift your knees off the mat. And exhale down. Minor movement here. Lift your knees off the mat just slightly. And down. Now last time, lift and hold here. Bear pose. One more round of breath. And now open your knees out and bring them in. Minor movement. Open your knees out. Invite the shaking. Bring them back in. Open your knees out. And exhale, set them down. Now we'll be coming into frog pose in full. Untuck your toes. And the point here is to have your knees super wide. So they're not type in child's pose, right? So they're more like a frog. So find what works for you, opening your knees out wide and sitting your hips down in between them. Also depends on what surface you're on. This isn't the most comfortable on the knees, so not going to go wider than this. 1 more round of breath here. And if you're not on your elbows, come onto your elbows. Really press into your elbows so that you can bring your knees back together. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into dolphin pose. 1 more round of breath here. And we'll find a bit of movement. Walk your feet back, come into a forearm plank. And now walk your way back up, dolphin pose. Walk your way back. And walk your way up. Last time, walk your way back. Walk your way up. And hold here. Invite the shaking. 1 more round of breath. And exhale, drop your knees to the mat. Come back onto your hands. Big sigh out. Tuck your toes if you untucked them and roll back into your downward facing dog. Nice big stretch in the spine here. 1 more round of breath. Left foot stays, right leg lifts up into the sky. And now we're going to meet our knee to our left elbow since we haven't done that yet. Exhale. And inhale. If you want to scorpion, you can. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And now bring it through center. Exhale, step your foot through. Rise up. Back into our crescent lunge. Inhale the breath. Exhale, 1 cactus arm pulse. Inhale, reach back up. And now exhale, hands come to the mat, finding a little bit more balance. As you are ready, start to shift your weight into your front foot. And then maybe lift your back leg into the sky, finding standing splits. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you start to open your hip up. Maybe you take your weight off of your left hand. And maybe you extend that into the sky as well. Half moon pose. 1 more round of breath here. And if you want to revolve it now, you can. Bringing both hands back down to the mat. Maybe you stay again in standing splits. And now maybe you try to take your other hand off the mat. 1 more round of breath here. Let the sweat drip if you are. And exhale, both hands onto the mat. And if you want, one-legged hop back and move through your Vinyasa flow. Now we get to do that all on the other side. Big exhale out here in downward facing dog. And
And now right foot stays, left leg lifts up. And meeting our right elbow. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stretch it back. And now step your foot all the way through and rise up, crescent lunge pose. One round of breath here. Exhale, little cactus pulse. Inhale. And exhale, hands come to the mat. Adjust as you need. And now lift your back leg up into the sky for standing splits. And again, maybe you stay here, or maybe you start to open your hip out. Left hand stays on the mat, and maybe you open into half moon pose. Ardha Chandrasana. I tend to look down on the mat for balance, but challenging your balance would be looking forward or even looking up. Lift your heel a little bit more into the sky, invite the shaking. One more round of breath. Exhale, both hands come back to the mat, stay here, or option now, revolve your half moon by extending your other arm into the sky. Invite the shaking, one round of breath. Exhale, both hands back to the mat and prep, and maybe one-legged hop back and move through your Vinyasa flow. Big exhale, side out. And now we'll do something a little bit more gentle. Left foot stays, right leg extends, scorpion like your dog, really open up into your hip. And exhale, bring your knee through center. And now move your foot off towards the left, drop your shin onto the mat. And drop your hips, coming into pigeon pose. Reconnecting with our breath if we've forgotten to pay attention to it. Now you can stay up high here. If you want a quad stretch, you can reach for your back leg. You can come onto your elbows, whatever works for you. Stay here for 2 more rounds of breath. Last round of breath. Exhale, side out. If you're not on your hands, slowly make your way onto your hands. Tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, stretch your foot back into the sky, and downward facing dog. And now we'll do that on the other side. Right foot stays, left leg lifts, scorpion like your dog, open up your hip. And exhale, knee comes through center. Now shift your foot over to the right. Drop your shin, drop your hips. Come into pigeon on the other side. About 5 more rounds of breaths here. 5 more rounds of breath. Don't think that's plural. Haven't spoken much English, best I can't even speak right now. For the past week and a half, I haven't spoken much English, and clearly it's a struggle to speak my own language right now. Let's do 1 more round of breath here. Exhale, side out. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and slowly extend your leg back, 3-legged dog, and both feet to the mat. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, gaze forward, and step or hop your way forward to Uttanasana. I know that's not an animal pose, but that's okay. Exhale, fold, and rise all the way up into mountain pose. Take a moment here, reconnect. And again, find your balance, and we'll be moving through our last standing pose and our last super balanced pose before bringing it down to the mat. So find where you feel nice and stable. I'll move just to give a better visual here with the plant in the way. Weight in the left foot. Inhale, lift your right knee into the sky.
And now cross your knee over your other one and maybe hook your foot around your calf to come into eagle pose. If this is a lot, you can cross your ankle over your knee and find like a 4 square pose, but again, trying to keep with the animal theme here in Garudasana, eagle pose. And if you want to add the arms, since right knee is crossed over left, arms reach up, cross left arm over right. And breathe here. One more round of breath. Invite the shaking, slowly release with control. Unwind and reset. And we'll take that to the other side, finding balance in the other foot now. Inhale, big breath in, big breath out as you cross and hook. And again, if you want to add the arms, now right crosses over left. Breathe here. Grateful for all of our bodies. All our bodies can do. One more round of breath. With control, unwind. And exhale, reset. Muy bien, very good. Big breath in. Release. And moving down to the mat, last vinyasa. Arms reach up, nice big extension. Fold it forward. Halfway lift. And last thing, bend your knees as if you're gonna sit your butt back and then extend your arms back. So not quite chair pose, but almost. And now to add a little extra balance, like we did at the beginning, moving onto our toes. And I've heard this pose called bird drinking raindrops before, and I just really like it. One more round of breath. Exhale, release. Halfway lift. Bow it down, plant your hands, step or hop back, move through your vinyasa flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. We'll add a last little bit of thing to the flow here before we bring it completely down onto the mat. As we've done prior, start to roll your body forward into a plank. And as we did with bear pose, drop your knees just a little bit, hovering them, and now push your hips back to come into crouching tiger. Next, exhale, downward facing dog. Twice more. Roll it forward, plank, bend and push back, tiger. And exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale, and we're going to try to stay here, nice strong pose. Last round of breath. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Big breath in, big breath out. And now last arm balance here. Start to open your knees out as if you're going to move into malasana and start to walk your hands back. Squatting down to come slowly into a crow pose, bakasana. So grounding down on all 10 fingers if this works for you. Otherwise, you can practice getting your knees up into your elbows and rocking forward if crow is not in your practice. If it is in your practice, let's see with how sweaty I am, how well this works. One more round of breath. And release. Walk it back forward to your plank. And now drop your knees. Bring them together, sit your hips back, coming into thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana. Hands come onto your quads, reconnect. Listening to the sounds around you. Big sigh out. And we'll rise up onto our knees. Inhale, arms reach up into the sky. And sit it back down. Twice more. Lift up. And exhale. Inhale, lift. And now stay here. And hands come through your center onto your hips. Really open your hips up here. If it feels better to tuck your toes, you can do that. We'll be coming into camel pose if you know that's in your practice. Otherwise, just stay here. Maybe you can practice reaching one hand and the other hand back. Maybe you can touch your heel. If you can't yet, that's totally fine, right? We're not trying to like dump into our low back just to acquire the pose, because camel is more about opening up into your shoulders and your chest and your upper back. So maybe you stay here, or maybe if you feel open and available, you can start to slowly find camel. Two more rounds of breath. As you're ready, slowly release. And bring your hands back to the mat. Tabletop pose. Readjust here. Let the spine relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Last few things here. Left knee stays, right leg stretches out behind you. Exhale, tuck it in. Twice more, inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale, and try to bring it so close that you can cross your knees over each other. So right knee is now in front of left. And sitting on back, or as ever you need to come into Gomukhasana, cow-faced pose. If that doesn't work, you can just be in like a regular seat, but try to have your right foot in front of your left. Arms reach up, and like we did in eagle arms, maybe you cross that way, or if you want to do the stretch behind you, you can grab that clasp, or maybe you do prayer behind your back, whatever works for you. One more round of breath. Slowly release whatever you have in the hands. We'll make our way back onto our knees, rolling it forward, unwinding tabletop pose, and now doing that on the other side. Reset, right knee stays, left leg extends. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Bring it all the way in so that you can cross one knee over the other. Readjust, maybe move your calves out of the way. And sit your hips back to come into cow face pose on the other side. And again, find whatever you want in the arms. Whatever feels good for you. For a couple more rounds of breath. Slowly release what you have in the arms. Inhale, readjust. Rock it forward, unwind. And then we're going to sit our hips down and come onto a seat. I'm going to turn so that you can see me better. And bring the soles of your feet together to come into butterfly pose. There's also a lot of those here, very beautiful. Clasping your toes gently, sitting up nice and tall. Maybe you close your eyes, or maybe you don't. Maybe you take in the beautiful scenery around you. If you want to add movement, you can. Taking a few more rounds of breath here. Side out, release. And now we're going to be coming into fish pose. Otherwise, you can move directly into your Shavasana if that works for you. Coming onto our backs. Kind of like rabbit, but now we're going the other way. Stretching all the way out onto our backs and coming directly into Shavasana. Or if you want to come into fish pose, I usually start with my elbows on the mat and slowly work the crown of my head backward onto the mat, and then stretch out into fish pose. If that's a lot, you can also come on your stomach and do crocodile pose. There's a lot of those too, Makarasana. And you can just lay on your stomach, make a little pillow with your hands, and rest one side of your face on the mat. It's also a valid option. If you're in fish pose, one more round of breath. And then put weight in your elbows. So you can either come all the way back onto your Shavasana. I actually think I'll do crocodile pose because it sounds fun. It just came to me. So making a little pillow and laying down gently on the earth. And I'm going to take my Shavasana this way. Feeling grounded. Remember to switch which cheek you are on. Just to stretch into the other side of the neck as well. Or you can be on your chin. I'm going to take a few last moments here to really be grateful for our planet. I'm here currently researching deforestation in the Amazon. And so just really grateful for all the ways our Earth supports us. Earth supports us. Really grateful for all the ecosystem services, right? And just knowing that we really need to do a better job of taking care of our home, consuming less, being more conscious of our actions and the impact they have on our natural resources. Being grateful for all the biodiversity, the multitude of species that we coexist with, how each one is valuable and important. And here in these final moments together, I'd like you to think of something that you can do. Maybe that you already do every now and then. Maybe you forget to turn the lights off. Not that I think individual actions is the answer. You know, we definitely need a bigger systematic change, but I think a lot of times it helps us at least feel like if we can do something small every day to reduce our impact, to live more sustainably, to coexist better with other species, whether that's using less water, using less plastic, right? So think of something that maybe you need to do better at, maybe that you already do, maybe that you want to add to your routine that just makes it a little bit more of a sustainable lifestyle in harmony with all other creatures and systems on our planet. And then let's do one more round of breath with that. Slowly sigh it out, and whether you're on your back, whether you're on crocodile pose, I invite you to start finding gentle movement in your body, opening your eyes to the day, to the light, unless you're in a dark room, that's also valid. And we'll slowly come into our final seated position here. I'm going to come back to butterfly pose to keep with our theme. I hope you enjoyed this nature-inspired flow. Thank you for joining me. And I wish you the best in the week to come. And until next time, namaste.